Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Worldwide. Wherever you are in this great big world, thank you so much for tuning in and for being here today. Well, for this episode, I am flying solo, and I want to share all the reading that I've been doing because one of my favorite activities is to read a good book. What's interesting is I used to read just business books. It would be about a business book every month earlier in my career. And then I woke up and I realized there are so many different books out there that just feed my soul. Doesn't mean that I stopped reading business books, but I've expanded my horizons. So I'm probably reading about a book every single week. A lot has to do with this show and all of the authors who come on. I love reading their books. All right, let me give you some top picks for 2021. Well, first off, after the presidential election and hearing so much about the party of Lincoln, I thought it was important to read Lincoln's biography. So I read With Malice Toward None by Stephen Oates, and I highly recommend this book. It was so interesting to learn about Lincoln, the man, how he grew up, his marriage, his children, the loss that he experienced, and to also learn about politics and what shaped politics. And it's very interesting to see some of the tactics that happened back in the days of Lincoln heading into the Civil War. So I highly recommend this book, a very, very good biography. Another book that I read, which I think is super interesting, is Maximizing Your Potential with the Power of the Subconscious Mind to Enrich Your Life by Dr. Joseph Murphy. This is a book that really helps you to understand what goes on beyond what we see and what our conscious mind shapes for us. It's all about the thoughts that you feed your subconscious and how you feel. And when you start telling a different story and having different beliefs, it actually shapes what happens to you in the moment and in your future. Now, I would recommend before you read the book that I just read to actually read The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. That's a good starter book before you get into Maximizing the Potential. He has a whole series. I also read Poor Charlie's Almanac, The Wit and Wisdom of Charlie Munger. Oh my goodness. Charlie Munger is an incredible investment professional. He was vice chair or is vice chair of Berkshire Hathaway, business partner to Warren Buffett. This book was compiled by Peter Kaufman, and the foreword is written by Warren Buffett. And it's really interesting because I'm not a financial person, although I do work with the financial industry and certain companies in the financial industry on training, communications training. But what's fascinating about this book is that Charlie Munger has mental models that he uses in order to make really good investments. And it goes beyond just financial or economic. It's financial, it's economic, it's psychological, it's sociological. And that's what makes well-rounded decisions. And he puts a lot of information in this book and checklists around these mental models. There are his famous speeches in there, whether it's for Harvard Law School or some of the speeches that he gave to philanthropy associations or to CFOs and their associations. I really appreciated this book because not only can you apply his wisdom in the financial realm, but in other areas of life. And he gave great recommendations on other books and biographies to read that are super helpful just in life. Now, one business book that I did read that is among my favorites in 2021 is The Digital Pivot by Eric Schwartzman. Now, I have to be transparent about this. Eric is a colleague and a friend. I've known him for a while, and he sent me a copy of his book. And of course, I always want a friend to do well with his book, but I just felt like it wasn't the usual business book. First of all, he's comparing digital marketing to ballet dancing. And it's really interesting the way that the juxtaposition of the two. But what I like about Eric's book is how much he gets the business owner into the marketing mindset and marketing infrastructure that's needed. So many times I listen to my colleagues who are business owners and they say, well, what should be email marketing? And it's really important to be doing social media. And what about SEO? But if you don't have the why, and if you don't, or know the why, and if you don't have the infrastructure necessary within your organization, you're not going to be able to build a successful digital marketing program. That's a fact. You won't have a leg to stand on. You will not be able to see it successfully roll out and to be able to measure it appropriately. And I think Eric did a very good job in laying out what a marketing structure for your organization, what systems you need in place in order to be successful in your digital marketing. I also want to give a shout out for a couple of other books that I thought were really good. Grit by Angela Duckworth, because so much we focus on skills. But if you don't have that passion and drive and effort behind those skills and your God-given talent, you're not going to go very far. And Angela uses several interesting research projects that she did, whether it was with the Army or the Green Berets. I thought it was an excellent book. And last one I want to talk about, which is so important today, because very much we see media headlines, we're in all these different circles, and we're listening to what colleagues and peers and friends and families are saying. And we take perspective sometimes and we form opinions and beliefs around that. And after I read the book Super Forecasting by Phil Tetlock and Dan Gartner, it changed my perspective quite a bit. The book is about probability and how many questions and the framework that you need to really pinpoint what probability is that something will in fact happen, and how much you know about a situation or something that you're actually predicting. And in the book, they talk about the one brain, the internal brain system and the external brain system. And a lot of what we do is just what we know internally. And that is very much tip of the nose. And in order to move beyond this tip of the nose perspective, we really have to stretch ourselves and to ask difficult questions and to learn in different ways and to take perspectives that really challenge our own bias. And I appreciate this book so much, and I highly recommend it. Whether you're in business or you just want to understand what's going on in the world and all the different headlines and the predictions that are made, I think this book would be really good. So grab yourself a copy. All right. Well, that's it for my book recommendations. I've read many more. I'm happy to discuss any of the books I've mentioned or some of the other titles that I've read. They're all good, but the ones that I've just shared were clearly my favorites in 2021. So thank you, friends. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. And if you want to connect with me, you can always find me. I'm on Twitter at Dee Breckenridge, or on LinkedIn. Send me an email, Deirdre@pureperformancecom with 2Ms.com. And until our next episode, stay energized, focused, and feeling empowered. Thank you.